Hello everyone. I hope you had a good weekend and you're in a healthy condition today. You're all okay. I hope so. So as you have seen, or I just updated the quiz information for Wednesday that we're going to have it. Let me share with you. So it's here. Date and time during the class hour and the types of the question that you will be responsible for. Basically, you're gonna have the class hour. I just put here 60 minutes, but you're going to have the class hour. For detailed information related to the online exam schedule, it's here. And you're responsible for the lecture 1 and 2 that we did in the class. Lecture 1 and lecture 2, which is working with the financial statement and alternative investment. And discount and alternative investment criteria is not included. So once I finish this chapter, in this chapter, you will be responsible for, if this finished, I will add it to the exam 1. So exam 1 will include lecture 1, lecture 2, and lecture 3. And most probably the exam 1, you are going to write it on week from now, like the week after the next one, which makes like 2 weeks from now. So I will make
22nd, yeah, like
22nd. But I will give you this week more detailed information when we meet on the quiz. Okay. One exactly, either on 22nd or 24. I will see it. More even, I might select 24 so that we may have 22nd. We may meet and discuss if you have any questions while you are preparing, so that you can kind of preparation for the exam during the class. We can make it in 24. And both quiz and the exam will be open-ended question like calculation. So far, we have whatever we have made in the class using the Excel and so on. So you'll be doing this. Okay, if you don't have any questions, let me proceed with the lecturing. There's some parts left not taught. Yes?
Professor?
Yes, Dana?
In quiz, we will have only one question, yes? Problem.
1 and 2. 1 and 2. It's not going to be big. Okay? It's not going to be.
Professor, I also have a question. Do we need to submit Excel file or somehow?
yes.
Yes. If you're going to solve it or by hand on the paper, then it should be taken picture and upload it. If you're going to use the Excel, you have to upload it to Excel. But I will decide it. I will tell you. Okay. Most probably I will tell you to use the Excel, because to make your job easier. So I have to think today, and I'm going to write it. I'm going to write it to you all.
Thank you.
Okay. In both ways, you should be ready. But I do suggest you to solve, if it's hedge funds, it will consume the time from you, put it and just write it by hand. But if you do it Excel, using the Excel, it's really smooth your time and it will make you efficient in calculation. So you have less probability of doing any mistakes in calculation. So that's what that is the advantage of using the Excel itself.
Professor, one more question.
Yes, sure, Almat.
The weighting of 5% will be the same, yes?
Yeah.
There were no changes.
No change. Whatever we have discussed. So as you can see in here on module, so it's a proof to you there will be no change in the weight. The weight could change at the final assessment, like if your first 2 exams are really bad, and I might consider do some curving and rescheduling the grading if you do really bad. But I believe you can do your best in both exams, exam 1 and exam 2. And the final exam actually will be it's a scientific work that we're expecting to write it and submit it. Okay, exam 1 is lecture 1, lecture 3. Exam 2 will include lecture 4, lecture 5, and 6. And the rest are this, more related to econometrics and statistical analysis. but you're not going to have any kind of, what do you call it, question and answer in the final exam. It will be scientific work which will be presented. Okay, you will submit it and do some presentation, your submission. Okay, if you have any question, ask. If not, let me just start. Okay, I think the last thing that we were discussing, it was the modified IRR, MIRR. It's here, and there was a I just quickly showed you how to calculate the MIRR. So MIRR was introduced to solve some of the issues related to, what do you call it, to IRR. It just solves some, but not all. So that was the reason to introduce the MIRR. So example is given here. We solved it in Excel. I'm going to repeat it again. And as you can see here, we're given the cash flows. So basically what it said, you should discount all the negative cash flow to the beginning year of the project at the firm's financing cost of the capital, and compound all the positive cash flow at the end of the project firm's financing cost of the project. So what they do here, assuming that the interest rate is 1, okay, it doesn't change, it's 12%. And what we do, we just discount this 8,000, we bring it to the year 0, and we compound this all cash flows to year 4. And then what we do, we just divide compounded value by discounted value. And we're raising to the power 1 over the useful life of the project. If it's 4 divided by 4, if it's 5 divided by 5, and minus 1, that will give us MIRR. And some of you in the class said we can use Excel function, MIRR, like whether we are allowed to use it. I said yes, we are allowed. However, up to some conditions. If interest rates do not change, so it doesn't change. But if the interest rate varies, like from year to another year, that we've got 4 different interest rates, then it would be very difficult to use function of the Excel. So what you will do, you just manually do the using the Excel calculation. So as we can see here, modified IRR. So modified IRR provides an accurate ranking project with an irregular cash flow. So it can rank the project with the mix of more than 1 positive or negative cash flow over the life of the project. And when the costs do not come at the beginning of the project. So assuming that the discount rate is 12%, here we can see that the highest MPV here is this, the project C, the highest MPV. However, the IRR is the lowest, okay? Very low, even it's a negative, we can see it because it has got some irregular negative cash flow. So we can see that when you accept according to MPV, you reject according to IRR. Same thing here. If you reject according to MPV the project, but you will accept according to IRR. So kind of they are contradicting. The decisions are contradicted if you compare the IRR with MPV. So that's really makes the bad thing here. So what is advised here? And that was the reason to introduce the MIRR in order to solve this negative cash flow that you see it at the end of the 4th year. So to solve the problem with irregular cash flow. So that was the actual issue. So what could be done in here? As we said, we calculate MIRR with a 12%. That helps us to get more accurate result, so the decision could be matched with the decision of the MPV. As we can see, the highest MPV to accept the project C, supported by the highest MIRR as well to accept the project. However, it goes against the project C with the IRR decision. So this is how can be illustrated, and you can see that MIRR really is solving the problem related to irregular cash flows. Not all of the problems is being solved through the MIRR. There are some like scaling and those things. Let me just remind you if you just forgot. So pitfalls of the IRR. The IRR may not be unique. It cannot handle mutual exclusive project for a different scale if the investment cost is different. It cannot handle the mutual exclusive with a project with a different length of life. So if the project has got different length of the life, then IRR cannot be used to make decision whether to accept or reject. Handle mutual exclusive with the project different starting points, like the project starts with a different rate year, and it only solves, let's say, the irregular cash flows, the MIRR. So MIRR is like IRR. It does not give a reliable ranking of the project in the case of mutually exclusive project with a different timing, with a different length of life, and with a different scales. It only solves the problem of when there is irregular cash flows. Okay. I will solve some questions with IRR as well, MIRR, sorry. Okay, we've got here some of the projects. Yeah, this is what we have been solving with MPV and IRR and MIRR. Okay, we solved it by hand. Okay, this was the cash flows are given, like in the book. This cash flows, and we compounded all the cash inflows to the end of the year of the project, and we discounted negative cash flow to the year 0. This compounding, this discounting. And what we did, we just compounded amount divided by discounted amount and raised to the power of 1 over the length of the life of the project, and minus 1. That actually gave us the MIRR. This is what we did so far. We could just run the same project with a different rate as the MPV. Okay, we could run with, let's say, I will take this one. I'll take this project. Let me put 13%, 14, 15, 16. And this will be my investment cost. Okay. I want to calculate MPV. I want to calculate MIRR. Okay, for this project. So if I do it, MPV, everybody knows it. Okay, let's do it. So what I do here, to do that, let me put it here. I need to discount each cash flow. I need to discount each cash flow in order to estimate the MPV. MPV is 0. Okay, let me more clearly specify. I would use actually MIRR function. However, I cannot do so because of the different rates changes. It gives me thousands of percentages. Okay. Now, I will just discount each cash flow. So it's 1,000 is 1,000. Here, 1,000 change. We'll discount this one divided by 1.12. Okay. We discounted. Then we discount this 800. 1.12 times 1.13. Then we discount this 3,600. 1.12 times 1.13 and times 1.14. And we could discount this one, 8,000. Let me do it in this way. And I add one more rate here, 1.15. So what I do here, I just sum it up all the NPVs, so all the cash flows, in order to get my NPV. So my NPV is here negative because I have two. My outflows are more than inflows. My outflows are more than inflows. But with MIRR, as we know, I should discount all the cash flows. I should discount all the cash flow. So discount all the cash flows. So this is discounted plus my 1,000. Okay. So my total outflow is this one, discounted for MIRR. And I should compound all inflows. I should compound it. Like bring it here. 1,200 compound to the year 4. So it should pass 13, 14, 15. Actually, I don't need this one, 16% anyway. So 1,200 times 1.13 times 1.14 times 1.15. But it doesn't end here, plus this. So the 13 is already passed, we don't have it. And I have this 3,600, it passes 15% only. 1 times 1.15. So this will be my compounding values. So then what I will do, in order to estimate it, I will just this divide by this, in the bracket. This is cannot be negative, and oops, and raising to the power of 1 over, let me put in a bracket for more, and minus 1. So my MIRR is this, modified internal rate of return. Let me just check it again. Did I perform any mistakes in here? So first of all, I discount all the cash outflows. I discount them to the year 0, to the beginning of the project. Okay. That's okay, but this is how it discounted. It passed 15, 14, 13, and 12. Okay. And I compound all cash inflows. Okay. It seems correct. And this is what I do. Just so my NPV is this, 0, MIRR this. Okay. It seems okay. It seems okay. Compound value by the discounted value and raised to the power 1 over 4. Okay, great. Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, coming to the benefit cost ratio, or in other words, as you have seen it in other courses, in finance courses like profitability index. So benefit cost ratio sometimes referred to probability index or profitability index. is the ratio of the present value of cash inflows to the present value of the cash outflows using the opportunity cost of funds as a discount rate in here. So according to this criteria, in order for the project to be accepted, the benefit cost ratio should be greater than 1. So for choices between mutually exclusive projects, and then you can choose it alternative with the highest benefit cost ratio. So if one is 1.2, the other one 1.5, you will choose the highest one. So you will compare if it's mutually exclusive. There are some challenges in benefit cost ratio. Being a ratio, it cannot reflect the size of the project, and it ignores actually the scale of the project. And the numerators and the denominators can be defined differently when it comes to operational cost. The example we've given below slide, okay. Consider the following case for mutually exclusive projects, project A and B. So present value investment cost, present value of benefits. So NPV of benefits is this, and benefits cost ratio is this. So as you can see that, according to benefit cost ratio, the project C is accepted if it's mutually exclusive. But according to NPV, the project B is accepted. So there is a disagreement between benefit cost ratio and the NPV. So due to the scale, due to the investment cost, okay. So the higher the scale, that brings you down the benefit cost ratio. So this is the challenges that could be underlined in benefit cost ratio. So while comparing with the NPV, still you will do your decision based on the NPV because it shows how much money you will receive it. So the benefit cost ratio is very sensitive to the way which costs are defined in setting out the cash flow. So gross benefit and operating cost and capital cost. So operating cost in the numerator, operational cost in the numerator, it's gross benefit minus operation cost only, 7 minus 1, and divided by 4, it's 1.5. And for the second project, 24 minus 18 divided by 2 is 3. So you will select project B. But if you treat operating costs in the denominator, you can treat it in this way as well. You can, so it gives you the same opportunity. And benefit cost ratio, 7 over 4 plus 1. 7 is the benefit and 4 plus 1 is the operational cost, total operation cost. 1.4, and benefit cost ratio, 24, the benefits divided by the cost, 2 plus 18, so 1.2. So in here, it just underlines the challenges it faces while dealing with the benefit cost ratio. So one thing you should keep in mind that the last decision should be based on the NPV, because the NPV, it measures the real value of the money that you receive in hand. Okay. You can compare, you can just add as a comparison these ratios in order to come up with a certain conclusion, saying that whether it supports your decision or not. If it doesn't support, you could just mention due to these pitfalls, it cannot be accepted in accordance with the benefit cost ratio, payback rule, and discounted modified IRR or IRR, and so on. And payback period is the last measure of the investment in the investment appraisal that we use it, how many years it takes to just recover the investment cost. So it basically ignores the benefits beyond the payback period, I mean the cutoff period. Financial institution may use payback period as a proxy for debt service coverage ratio, and using when the project is subject to the high levels of the future, it really has some risks. So the payout period have two serious issues. The first one is they assume that all benefits are produced by the longer life, and project have an expected value of the 0. after the payout period. So you do not consider any large cash flows after the cutoff period. Your aim is to just accept the project if it just covers the cost that you have incurred when you started your project. It also ignores any investment cost that might occur beyond the payout period, okay? Because we can have some irregular cash. That it doesn't mean that when you run the certain project that you have only one outflow in the project at year 0. You may have it after as well. You may have it after the some cash flows comes, and let's say after 5 years or 6 years, any of the years it can come out that you have a negative cash flow. But the payback period does not count it into consideration, because the MIRR for the payback period is just to cover the investment cost. So whatever happens, it will cover, and no matter what is the payback period after it. Okay, returning to the example that I illustrated in Excel here, I would like to just make the benefit cost ratio as well here. Hello, you lost me, I think. It's because of the internet connection.
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, the last thing that we talked about, the benefit cost ratio, is using the present value of benefits over present value of cost. Okay. This is how we do it. And that will give us benefit cost ratio. So actually we will sum cash flows and divide by the investment cost, the first initial year, okay? Please be careful. It's benefit cost ratio. It's present value of the benefits you receive in the future divided by present value of investment cost. Do not consider the irregular cash flow as investment cost. So what I do here, I just take the sum value of my Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
No, yes.
Now, yes.
I don't know, oh my gosh, something going wrong with my internet connection. Let me just share the screen
You
again.
are a little bit lagging.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, what I was telling, benefit cost ratio is estimated present value benefits, present value of the future benefits you receive, even considering the negative cash flow, divided by initial investment cost. Divided by initial investment cost. But this should be as an absolute term because it's an index. So what I have here, my benefit cost ratio is kind of less than 1, less than 0. So it means that the project should not be accepted. The project should not be accepted. My MIRR supports the decision, which shows that it is less than cost of capital. MPV tells the same thing. Okay. This is what I see here from this picture. So this was how estimated. Actually, you should have learned these things about the benefit cost ratio before. But first of all, you should discount all the benefits to the year 0. And then make this division by the cost to get the benefit cost ratio. Okay. Now, what I want to do now from you, please, I will give you an example. You will do it. You will calculate MPV0, MIRR, and benefit cost ratio, and you will present me, you will explain it, and then you can leave the conference. So I want to be sure that every one of you understands how the MPV is estimated, how the MIRR estimated, and how the benefit cost ratio is estimated. If you are capable to explain it and give the clarification for your calculation, then you can leave the conference without any problem. Okay, Example that I'm going to give you, I'll select this. My cash flow will be 2,000, 3,200, 1,800, and let's make it 6,000. Let's make this minus 4,600, 800. Okay. So estimate MPV 0, IRR, MIRR, and benefit cost ratio or profitability index. So I want you to estimate these 4 of the criteria. Estimate, show it to me, and you can leave the conference. So yeah, I'm giving you time, like 5-10 minutes, then you will do the presentation to me. Show me how you did it. So the example is here. You can start working on that. And by the way, you can ask the questions from your friends. If you don't know to do something, you are free to ask, like discuss. Okay, explain how do you estimate the MPV?
So when I was estimating NPV, first thing that I did, I discounted all cash flows to the beginning period using rates. So for the first year, I used only 12%. For the second year, I used 13 and 12.
Okay.
Then 14, 15, and 12. And to the final year, I used all rates except 16%.
Okay.
Then I just summed everything.
Okay. Go with IRR.
Yes.
I
For
found
IRR
one mistake, Evgenia. I found one mistake in NPV, but I will tell you after. But explain what is IRR.
For IRR, I used Excel function called IRR and selected all cash flows and got such result. For MIRR, what I did, I discounted all negative cash flows, summed them up, and compounded all positive cash flows and got the sum. And then I divided present value of discounted cash flow by compounded cash flow and raised to the power 1/4.
And one more thing, can you show me your what do you call it, your discounted values and compounded values? I want to see it. This is
So-
your discounted value, yes? Or what?
This is the compounded value. Here I didn't show how I discounted. I just took some of this negative one
Okay.
and plus this negative because it was already discounted in
Okay.
previously when I was calculating NPV.
So the computation of the MIRR MPV having some mistakes. The formula, first of all, it's lacking some numbers, the formula. And using this raising to the powers, like you have some mistakes. So I want you to solve it on yourself, that before other one is presenting. Maybe somebody will present, you will see what is the mistakes. Okay, but general idea is good. It's good that you're doing this. What about benefit cost ratio? Show me. It's based on the MPV, yes? Yes, it's based on the MPV. So that means benefit cost ratio is not correct as well. Okay, wait for the others to present. I hope somebody will do it correctly.
Okay.
After you, and you can see, but it's not that big mistakes, but I want you to pay attention for it very carefully. Do not leave the conference. Okay. Anyone else who ready to present? Okay, everybody's working. Let's wait for a couple minutes. And Evgeny, you can think on your mistakes. See the powers, okay? See the powers.
Okay.
Professor, can I share my screen?
Sure, go ahead.
One minute. Can you see the screen? So here is my calculations. My cash flows, as you can see, the discount rates, and I calculated the present value of each cash flow separately. So I discounted 3,200 by 12%, as you can see from here. And I also made the same thing for all other cash flows, and I summed it up to calculate the NPV. For IRR, I used...
Wait, don't go for IRR. You're very quick.
Yeah.
Very quick.
Okay.
Come back. I want you to show the discounted value formula. Evgeny, I want you to pay attention for it.
So here, 3,200 discounted by 12% only.
Okay. And
Minus 1,800 discounted by 12 and 13%.
okay, great.
And 3,600 is discounted by these three rates.
Okay.
And the last year is discounted by 4 rates, except 16%.
Very good.
And I summed it up, all these cash flows, to calculate the NPV. So here is my NPV.
Almat, can I stop you? Evgeny wants to ask something. Yes, Evgeny, ask.
Okay.
So when we have variable interest rates, we don't need to raise to the power, right?
Answer the question, Almat.
So as you can see here, there are different interest rates. If there was, for example, 12% for all years, like let's say 12, 12, 12, and we can raise to the power to discount these cash flows. But as you can see here, there are different interest rates. We have to discount each cash flow with different rates for each year.
Yes, thank you, got it.
Okay, thank you so much, Almat. Continue.
And I calculated the IRR with the Excel function of these cash flows. And I calculated
Okay, I got the mistake from you. Okay, continue.
So for MIRR, I calculated as here is a mistake. So I should calculate the present value of negative cash flows.
Mistake only in IRR. I did not say anything about MIRR. Nothing related to MIRR.
Okay.
MIRR I think is okay, but still show me how you calculate.
So for MIRR, I use the present value of negative cash flows. Here I should add the 1,422, yes?
Yes, very good.
And here I should calculate the future value of all positive cash flows except this one. Let me correct my mistake. Here. I guess, yeah, this.
It's E3. E3.
E3, yeah.
Be careful.
Here, yeah. Is redundant, and so here is the present value of all future positive cash flows.
One more
here
time.
is present value of
how much? Wait. This 10,000 represents what?
Represents the future value of all positive cash flows.
Okay, very good.
And this 3,400 represents all present value of all negative cash flows.
Okay.
And I divided according to the formula, the future value of all positive cash flows divided by present value of all negative cash flows to the power of 1/4, because we have 4 years.
Okay, very
and
good.
Minus 1. And for benefit cost ratio, I used I calculated the present value of all cash flows, cash outflows divided by present value of cash inflow, and I got this number.
Okay. Now everything seems reasonable. Coming to IRR. Okay, think about the IRR, not now, just stop sharing it. Somebody, if presented correctly, you can see your mistake. Anyone ready? Okay, if anybody ready, just let me know. I want very good presentation, and Evgeny as well. Thank you so much. Think on your mistakes, those that you have not seen it yet.